we now have a fireside chat between Dr. Eberhard Sasse, who is the president of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce for Munich and Upper Bavaria, and Carolin Wais, who's heading our investments and the startup associates here at Plug and Play in Munich. Please, Caro, give it up and introduce you and Mr. Sasse. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction, Johannes. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our fireside chat. I'm very excited that today together we will be talking about 2021 and how commerce will evolve in the pandemic. Please make sure to keep asking questions via Slido. We will have some dedicated time later on. And without further ado, to kick it off, I would like to hand over to Mr. Sasse to introduce himself and also the Chamber of Industry and Commerce.
Hello, have a good day. Okay, I introduce myself. My name is, I'm Eberhard Sasse. I have two hats today. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm the owner and the founder of the Sasse AG company. I started as the age of 25 as a young student, and now we have in Germany, in Austria, and UK nearly 7,000 employees. On the other hand, I am the president of the Chamber of Commerce of Bavaria and Munich and Upper Bavaria since 2013. The president is an honorary job. Maybe to say it's not $1 job, it's a $0 job. So what is the Chamber of Commerce of Upper Bavaria? It's a corporation of all the companies in Upper Bavaria and in Bavaria. In Upper Bavaria, it means nearly 400,000 companies. They are member of the chamber compulsory by law. And we are the pressure group for the interest against the politician and all the other groups.
Thank you very much for the introduction. I think it's super impressive how you have both roles, and especially that you founded your company back in 1976 and now it's a global enterprise. Maybe before we move into the topic, what's your best advice for founders out there that are listening today? How to scale a business like that?
Okay. Victorian values. To be save your money and work very, very hard and always have a picture of the future in your head and be optimistic.
That's a very good advice, especially with regards to the right now.
Especially in time like this.
That's definitely true. Thank you so much for sharing. And I think, of course, our audience is also key to know how your view is on how retail will develop with COVID-19. So I think also the Chamber of Industry and Commerce has conducted a report which outlined the impact of the pandemic on multiple industries. So can you maybe share the key insights for the retail industry and your key findings?
Yes, I think we make a report of the influence of the corona pandemic. Especially, I think your topic now is the retail industry. Is right?
Exactly.
Okay. And there we have some figures. Nearly half of the retail companies, means 46%, evaluate the overall business situation as bad, as very dangerous for the future. That means business expectations are pessimistic despite of these lockdowns. 61% of all retailers estimate low demand for the rest of the year, some also for the beginning months of the next year. Nearly 1/3, that means 32% of all survey participants expect canceled orders. And more than a quarter, 26% fear liquidity problems, serious liquidity problems.
Thank you very much.
These are the main topics, yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, we definitely also see that in the retail environment and of course also our startups field. What would you say are some practical implications of these, like some practical examples where we can see these numbers?
Many Bavarian shops were closed for almost 2 months, and this was really dramatically. Rents have to be paid, salaries have to be paid, but they could not pay. And sometimes the government backs it, supported this shops, these companies to loan, but it was only a loan with, I think, 2% interest, and with reimbursement of the working costs. And between the late April and June, the shutdown ended very slowly, step by step. Customer traffic was reduced, on the other hand, by 70% in the first week, and now by minus 20% currently. On the other side, strictly hygienic standards has to be implemented, affected by customers' behavior. Let's have a look on the results. We have lower demands for typical city center goods, clothes, 30% drop in sales volume, shoes, minus 20% revenue, and also furniture, minus 10% revenue. On the other hand, food retailers, health and beauty retailers or pharmacies were allowed to stay open. Revenues in these sectors increased. Construction and gardening products showed an increase in sales too, since people spruce their homes while spending more time there. On the other hand, restaurants had to close completely. And let's have a look of the perspective in the long term of change of consumption patterns. I think since people do not make high expense due to the employment concerns and of financial insecurity. The last figure of the employment, the unemployment rate is nearly 1 million people more in an unemployment situation. For Germany is an industrial country, and it is very important that the supply chain broke down. That means almost the small and medium-sized companies were dependent on goods from other countries or from customers in these countries, and borders have been closed dramatically. The production was shut down in many countries worldwide. This is the main results.
Thank you very much for sharing those results. I mean, definitely there has been a huge impact on all kind of sectors also within retail. And as you said, some kind of profited from this lockdown and others didn't. But also when we look towards 2021, which is a bit also the topic that we want to kind of talk to the audience about today, what are some opportunities for retailers out there and how can you maybe accelerate their growth as well? How can you make use of it?
Entrepreneurs are always optimistic. I think we try to see the light in the end of the tunnel, yes? And I think there's something that will be good. The pandemic has shown that ones who has already offered their goods on the internet, were better prepared for the shutdown. And we have learned other things. Data protection issues, very German problem or European problem, were eased. Since there has been a lot of pressure to find ways, for example, to work from home, or time can be used more efficiently because of less time spent of business travels. And on the local level, local commerce and people willing support local shops will revitalize both the urban areas and the city centers. And on the other side, we see another trend. We observed that more people start to pay cashless than before, including the rise of mobile payment apps. Finally, we can say e-commerce gained even more market shares than it did before COVID-19. And we subsect that this shift will be permanent. This is the future of 2001.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that next year. And I think also the topics e-commerce, localization, and cashless payment have been in the minds of our startups and corporations likewise. So maybe if you could give out a recommendation to them, what success factors they should leverage, or how they could kind of apply this in their own business, what would that be?
See, in my own business?
Yeah, maybe in your own business or in their business.
Yes, on their business, yes. I think the future will be the future of digitalization. I think this is an important message. And Germany is not very fast in this race. But we can think it's not too late to invest in digitization. And my advice is, don't stay behind when it comes to innovate the ways consumers buy. And another advice, try to be a step ahead of your consumer. Every new project must start by getting inside your client's head and understand how they make the decision to shop. This is very important.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, also the kind of research you outlined really helps to understand that. Maybe to round up and then to also hand over for some questions to the audience, we've spoken a lot about e-commerce. What is your future vision for offline stores, for the brick and mortar? How will that evolve?
Please, can you repeat your question?
Of course. So we've spoken a lot about e-commerce and how that will grow. But of course, our local stores, the brick and mortar, will not go away. So how
Yes, you know, understand this. Yes. My connection is a little bad.
No worries.
I think what will be the future of the commerce and e-commerce? I think we need e-commerce, but on the other side, we need always events in the shopping. We need events, we need getting in touch with people. And we must have a good experience in the shop. Respecting hygienical standards, of course. I think we need mixed concepts with cafes or restaurants within the store will rise. And in the end, there will be a higher use of digital innovations, such as VR changing rooms, self-checkout, and self-scanning, or interactive tools to browse product catalogs in the shop or order online. And commerce will mean both shopping in the internet and in local shops. Both sides will be combined. This will be the future.
I think that's a perfect kind of round-off of our small fireside chat. I see that the audience is very keen also to ask you some questions. We actually already have 4. So maybe let's kick it off with the first one. How did you personally cope with the current situation with regards to your own company? So for instance, with the shutdown of the Munich Airport, where you also are a facility manager.
With money. With money from my private assets we have supported. I think the Munich Airport, we have 11 airports under contract. It's a very difficult situation. We need a long way to run. And we need a big amount of private money for the family, but we will survive.
That's a good answer to that. And I think, yeah,
yes.
that's also fortunate.
I think it's a very clear answer, yes.
Yeah, definitely. I think
cash is king in this situation.
That's true. And that's also what you said in the beginning. Saving cash is very important.
Yes.
Another question, how do you think plug and play as an ecosystem can support startups best with real outcomes?
I think you have very near connection to the audience, and this is very important. And in this way, you can support it on an excellent way, the startup people.
That's true. And I think
yes.
It's also great to have kind of expert opinions and support the ecosystem like that. Also, another question was about cooperation. So most of them, as you also said, in Germany, lack the speed to really integrate new solutions. Why do you think is that? Especially for German corporations, why do they lag behind?
I think we need, in the former times, if I start my business, I started alone. It was very difficult to find corporations, to find advice. With your model of business, it's very easy to find advice and the possibility of cooperation between startups.
Definitely true. And I think also the next question kind of plays into that, and also in your role for the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. So what role will it play in the future for smaller companies so that they can rely on your support? Will you do some mentoring, digital consulting? Do you have any plans on that?
I think the main thing will be they have a platform, for example, the Chamber of Commerce, to connect them and to find people who are in the same situation. Startup people or entrepreneurs is a very small group. Compare with the inhabitants of Germany, over 80 million. We have only 4 million entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurs maybe with 10 or 20 employees. It's maybe nearly 500,000, it's not more. It's a very small, exotic group. And they have special questions and special problems completely different to the normal employees who are working in a council or in a big office.
No, that's definitely true. And does MIHK really do anything, maybe also prior to COVID-19, to support this local Munich and Bavarian ecosystem of startups?
Yes, and the Chamber of Commerce, we have had in the last 2 months hundreds of calls every day. And we will support people also with money, not the money of the Chamber of Commerce, that's the money of the entrepreneurs, but with advice, we are counseled to the government, saying, okay, this branch have big problems. You have to support them with money or with loans. This is a very good connection between the entrepreneurs, the Chamber of Commerce and the government.
Thank you very much. Interesting. Also, another.
I give you an example. And the next, we have a problem with the branch of fair trades called the Germany Messebauer, also gastro and the hotel area. And they have to restart their business now. And for this reason, the government will give money, called in Germany Überbrückungsgeld. And this Überbrückungsgeld needs an examination. And the examination of the companies will be made by the Chamber of Commerce.
It's a very good example. I think very interesting for the audience. Another question that also came up is the Prime Minister of Letland has one advisor located in Silicon Valley. She gives daily updates to the Prime Minister in new technologies. Should Bavaria also do that and have something like that? What's your opinion?
I think I have to be very polite to the politic now. I think it's a good example, and this Prime Minister of this small country is an excellent role model. They think our Prime Minister is a very wise man, and I think he will follow this way. This was a polite answer.
Thank you very much for sharing. I think that's also it with questions from the audience. Thank you so much for your time today. I think you gave us really interesting insights. And yeah, we will see you later, hopefully in our networking session.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. See you next. Okay.